SAP professionals know that their career is not always a straight line. They are aware that there are always peaks to conquer. Some have accepted the invitation to learn BTP, and it seems they walk alone. Well, the
Sandra, Marieta, Edgar, and I got together to share with all of you a bit like a replay of what we experienced at the CodeJam in Mexico City. Thank God we got out of there before everything collapsed. We deeply regret the whole situation that has arisen with the rains, the floods, people missing their flights, a total disaster. But well, we thank God that we had time to return home and be well and not experience any episode with that. So, well, welcome Sandra, welcome Marieta, welcome Edgar. A pleasure. How are you? Who starts?
Thank you.
Very well.
Very happy to greet you.
Well, folks, what you are seeing here is people who have been creating content for many years as SAP champions in the SAP world. They are people from the corporate world, right? What we call the upper middle segment, right? A SAP corporate enterprise. Except for me, as I am more focused on the small and medium-sized business segment. But well, it formed like a club, right? A club and like a gang formed naturally, right? And I want to tell everyone that, well, that I love sharing with you because a very, very nice dynamic was created. That normally in the SAP world, well, I'm a SAP expert and I'm a genius. And suddenly, I mean, there are people who don't fit in, who don't open up, right? And there we were all like, well, it seemed like a kindergarten with everyone throwing codes like crazy. And I want to take this opportunity here before we start formally, because we are going to let each of you, I will be like a moderator, right? But it doesn't mean that I have control. Here, everyone speaks what they want. But I want to make a little pause here and give some recognition. And maybe Marieta and Edgar will agree with me. When the CodeJam ended on Friday, which was around 3:33 and a bit, right? I had time to go out, and when I was leaving, when I left, they were already taking the sidewalk, the app developer app, which are Rich, Thomas, and Antonio, but Sandra was with them. That scene, the four of them were going. It looked like when a rock band is leaving, right? Heading to the dressing room. And when I see Sandra going with them, I said, we have to thank Sandra because she did the work of a host. I mean, she was the host for Mexico. You know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't that they were there and they moved on their own and well, each on their own, right? And that's it. I think Sandra, Artist on Thursday, and I noticed it that Friday when she was leaving. And I said how important it is to have a host, because let's agree on something. Imagine having a local person with you up and down, right? Helping you move in any situation. Imagine having having someone doing all the hosting work in the country, because let's agree that the only one who speaks Spanish there is Antonio, right? And the other two people, well, I saw that they spoke practically nothing or very little. And Sandra, to me, that seemed like a very nice gesture, because first you are representing Mexico and you are representing it well. Point number one, I mean, being a host for your country is a privilege. And more with the amazing people like them, I want to congratulate you for that and give you applause for being so cool, so humble, and being a host for them. Yeah. You represented everyone because if you think about it, they could have left and nobody would care if they arrived well at the hotel or if they had any issues or whatever. Because, well, you saw that I was kind of alone at that time over there in Santa Fe. I mean, I think having you there as a host is for me something commendable, and I wanted to mention it. So, well, let's begin. Who is going to speak now? Dame. Thank you, Sandra. And I congratulate you for that because those initiatives are worth gold.
In fact, that part of being a hostess was funny. I should point out that I had threatened the art bookers. I told them, I will be stuck to you like gum. You will only get a break from me when you go to sleep. I had already warned them that I was going to be stuck to them all day and that only when they went to sleep. So they arrived on Wednesday and so did I. We met, we were checking out what was up with the event. We saw if I could give my manga wapper stuff. But the truth is that Antonio knew quite well. I mean, he also researched very well where to go and everything. So, well, Antonio and I were there, but it should be mentioned that it wasn't, well, I hadn't seen it as a hosting job, but rather as part of learning from them and being with them all day.
Of course, it's like when you go to a city, a different country, having someone accompany you at all times, it gives you tremendous peace of mind because that they were in a privileged area. But even so, like here in Mexico, I mean, you have to be very alert. And no matter how much you're in a very, area, I think that being a host is also a sign of generosity. I mean, the host is generous because they give their time, right? They provide their resources. I find it very nice. I think in that sense, he must have felt at home, right? Welcomed so well. Well, Edgar, we have to get our act together, man, because if we're not in the game, then no, right?
We'll see that these girls are going to Berlin and we'll have to stay here to take care of the dogs, man.
Also, go.
Go. I went to Berlin in 2023 for a SAS event for not a CodeJam because it is the format of the CodeJam, but well, it had another name. In Europe, they give everything a name. They give it a different name, right? And I had the opportunity to be there in Berlin with Daniel Brodowski, who is also part of their team. And it was a great experience. I mean, I really think that when you return, we'll do another live session so you can tell us because that is not just any...
We will show you all the photos and tell you everything.
And it's not just anything, it's not like, oh, well, no. I mean, Berlin, Germany is another world. You have to cross the blessed Atlantic. I mean,
They are alive. Really, a lot of anxiety.
it's a challenge. Well, my people, so let's do a little recap. You who were there on Thursday, what happened on Thursday? Because I wasn't in the, because it was ABAP and there, well, I have nothing. I don't play a role, but how did it go on Thursday with the CodeJam? Who will tell us first?
If you want, I can start on Thursday. At 8:30, we left the lobby and went to IBSM. We arrived and saw the food, which was the little fruit and such. And it was like, I mean, Antonio said to me, wow, they really went all out with the food. And I said, yes, I was expecting cookies and coffee. And then they started setting everything up. They started welcoming people. And Rich, well, after around 9:30, I mean, while people were arriving, everyone was just sitting quietly. And we didn't really talk. We just arrived and they started sitting down. And like 2 people, I think, were the ones who told me, oh, you are the world developer. And I kind of went with the idea that they were going to know me. And I was like, oh, yes. I mean, I was very cold, but not in a bad way. Just that I didn't have the idea that they were going to see me, I mean, well, they weren't going to see me. I didn't have the idea that they followed me or that they were going to know me. In short, they arrived, Edgar arrived, introduced himself, greeted, and around 9:30. I think they started the CodeJam. Rich started it. I saw him very, very energetic. Honestly, I mean, I didn't expect that from him because he is super serious, like very reserved. And 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 well, when I saw him in action, it was like, for me it was like Disneyland. I mean, it was like, oh, my developer, because well, secretly he's my favorite developer, so I was like, no way, my favorite developer in action. I mean, for me it was like seeing my favorite actor behind the scenes, from when he gets up until he does his show, like that. And then well, the program was, it was very, very pleasant. I mean, no, at least I wasn't bored. There were things I didn't understand, obviously, because of the church topic, but then by reading and all that, you realize. Then we did the hands-on practice, which, no, I think he first explained the theory, how it was going to help us, which is like a boost for us developers in broad terms.
It was the break, and I think you arrived, Antonietta, at no, look, I arrived after Edgar around 9:40. Okay. Oh yes, that's true. There was an accident, so I arrived a little late. But yes, well, in the end we arrived, and yes, it was amazing to be working with the tool for developers. Well, I didn't pass anything. I know that for you it's like May. But since I'm not a developer, I mean, I'm on Eric's side, like doing my developments and having them run and then the test. And I was like, yes, for heaven's sake. I felt like I discovered America, Eric.
Of course, yes, yes.
I'm fascinated. And also you would ask Jewel and he would respond and say, incredible. I mean, he would even tell you where you went wrong, and you would click there like on a little light and it would tell you how to fix it, right? And it would fix it by itself. And you were like, oh my God, fascinated with that. Yes, really, it was very, very cool. I didn't manage to do all the exercises, but well, they didn't leave us there for a while, so we could do them later. This weekend, I have an appointment with myself, and that's what I'm going to focus on.
Very well. Edgar, how are you? How did you see it?
Well, definitely. For me, it was a great pleasure because it gave me that opportunity, right, to meet Sandra and Antonietta in person that day, and you later. So I had this idea of being able to meet them, and obviously meeting the people from Barber Gates was also something that excited me, right? And I was also a bit surprised by the character, you know, because, for example, I saw Thomas as a little too curious, I would say, almost. I saw a childlike Thomas having fun, right? And that seemed incredible to me. I agree with Sandra about Rich. I think he might be a little more reserved, but definitely during the break, I asked him, hey, and how do you do it, right? Because actually the dynamic, the way of speaking, expressing, explaining, well, I really think that it is another level, right? And I asked them if they didn't get nervous. They told me they did. First tools is that, well, it didn't show, right? Exactly, yes. And also, well,
I imagine
something that, yes?
No, I imagine they might feel some nervousness because there are people there who have been working with ABAP for years. I mean, don't think otherwise, right? I mean, it must be intimidating but you have a lot of, how many people were there? More or less.
There in 27 the first day.
You were going to say something, Edgar. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yes, no problem. Well, what I wanted to add is that, well, exactly, right? They told me that sometimes they still felt a bit nervous, but they still like these kinds of events because in the end, many of the people who we attend those events, we tend to be kind of introverted, right? So in some way, you also feel a bit of that confidence that in the end, you go and talk to people who have done similar things to what you have done, right? And they are also friendly, even though sometimes we are introverted. And well, I think that definitely, for me, it was a highlight of the day, right?
Oh, once I was at a BTP workshop in Mexico City at the SAP offices, and 99% were just ABA pairs, right? Just ABA pairs. We were there, of course, for a BTP topic, understanding architecture and whatnot. And I have to tell you this, you might correct me or confirm it. The ABAP developer, and here Marietta will surely confirm this, right? Will identify with this. The ABAP developer, traditionally speaking, does not play with BTP. I mean, their world, ABAP is very complete. So for them, BTP was like, well, okay, right? So they are quite unfamiliar. And it had, when I was in the workshop with that bunch of ABAP developers, you can imagine they were just learning about it. I mean, it was a topic that, well, they had no clue about. I mean, no, I get into my ABAP and start coding, and that's it. So I can imagine how that day was. Yeah, why? Yeah, because you have a bunch of developers who, surely, I tell you, have been developing for years, but then you have a Joule, right, who is incorporated there in the development ID, and where you can say, look, do this for me here. I don't know, do this, and have her advance the code, and you audit, I don't know, debug. So that there's a paradigm shift. That's what I mean. Here, Sandra and Edgar can surely confirm it, because there's a paradigm shift. Because now it's not BTP in the set, where you were used to not having to deal with BTP or with Cloud Identity Service, with Destination, with Business Application Studio, or Bill. I mean, there we are even, Marietta, because they are today, they are getting familiar with something that we, well, also, right? So it puts us on equal footing in that. Yes, but well, confirm for us. Let's see, Edgar and Sandra.
Well, I think, yes, this topic about Julie is definitely very interesting, right? As in particular, I have had experience, for example, working with Cursor, right? Which is also a development environment where the agent helps you. So I think SAP is doing a good job getting closer to that level of, let's say, user experience. Anyway, I want to make a small parenthesis there, because I was working with Alfonso, right? There is a friend who also went. And when we were doing the exercises, it also happened that the code Joule generated was not necessarily the code that came in the practice, right? So for me, the parenthesis is important, because in the end, we are still talking about working with Gen AI, right? And well, Gen AI finds, let's say, a way to do things each time, and that implies it can be different, right? Each time. So I think it's interesting to know that and keep it in mind, because although it will help us do it faster, it won't necessarily always be accurate, right? Or not necessarily always what the tutorial says. So that's where you have to be a bit attentive to know, oh, look, this needs to be corrected here, right? Or this here, well, needs some adjustment. So I think it's a powerful tool, but it needs to be complemented with the developer's experience, right?
Sure, very well. But I insist, I mean, the BTP topic is a topic that, in fact, ABAP arrived. I mean, ABAP was like a service, ABAP environment was like a separate service among the 80-something, because BTP reached 90-something services. Today, we are at 86. I mean, there are services that are being removed, other services that are arriving. And SAP, well, let's say their great wisdom said, look, let's include, like these developments, let's include ABAP under the SAP BL umbrella. That wasn't there. I mean, SAP BL didn't include ABAP, and it also didn't include the full code development part. So, so in that, BTP had the ABAP over there, and us, the SAP BIL people over here, but then it unified them and also introduced a concept called Team Fusion. Team Fusion is Marietta and I are citizen developers, business user, and ABAP and Jorge, and Edgar and Sandra are full code developer ABAP, and in the end, a single team is formed. It's no longer like, oh no, we are the ABAP developers, and well, and we're in a separate world. No, now we're all at the same party. and we formed something called Fusion Team, right? So we're no longer separate. So I wasn't in the session on Thursday because I said they're going to be on the ABAP topic, and well, I mean nothing to do with it. But Joule and ABAP, the same scenario you would have with, I don't know, Visual Studio Code with Node.js and the copilot of Visual Studio. So, well, question for you. How did you see the people who were there? Because you are already rock stars, you know. I mean, you are, but how was the rest? How did you see the group?
I really liked seeing a bunch of women, some young girls who were behind me. And I was fascinated because I really like having young people who just graduated from university. It was their first job because I started talking with them, and well, they were just starting in this SAP thing, doing their developments and everything. I was very pleased. And they were also very happy, right? To meet Sandra, to meet me, I don't know. They seemed super nice to me. Also, there were 2 or 3 young men. I mean, yes, there was a mix of all ages. I love that. Like of all ages and all years of experience, right? Different years of experience. And anyway, we all enjoyed it a lot, and we all had the same face, like, wow, wow. Yes, I love that. It didn't matter if you had like 1,000 years doing ABAP, like there was a guy next to me, like Sandra, right? Like all their life. And also, anyway, I was happy. Oh, thank you very much, Armando. Greetings to you too. And well, I think that was something I liked the most, that there was a bit of everything.
Yes, that happens because, well, your job is surely like that of a mother hen, right? I mean, the environment is very important. I also like to observe, and I loved seeing women on Friday, which we will talk about. I love seeing women there. Well, what I didn't love was that they turned off the air conditioning, right? But that's always typical, right? Women.
That was karma for being envious.
Look, I'm going to tell you an anecdote. You know that I speak very little English, right? Very little. So when I went to Berlin, you might say, well, how did you manage? It just so happens because God is very great, right? And it just so happens that Esme was there. Esme is from the team of, and she has her mom. Her mom is Mexican, so she knows Spanish. She lives in Finland. So one of those geek women, right? The geniuses too. So, well, she was helping me a little bit, and I'm going to confess something. I was telling the girls who were at the it was called SAP Beyond Code. Imagine a CodeJam, but it's called Beyond Code, Beyond the Code. So one of the things I kept repeating and telling them was that I was surprised to see women talking about engineering, about these things, about RPA, about robotic process automation, about I don't know what. And I told her, I feel that in Latin America, we lack that, right? We don't have that essence. But as Mariana says here, right? Mariana says, you can see the happiness. You can see the happiness, Eric, of being among professionals who resonate like you. And beyond that, women. You don't know how much I like, Marietta, seeing women here. You know, because I say, yes, empowered women and all that. And but and then what? I mean, just director of SAP Latin America, director of SAP Germany, director of SAP the Milky Way. I mean, but and then what? I mean, where are the technical women, the women who code, who really rack their brains, right? So there's you, Marietta, there's you as Sandra, and me as a man, I say, wow. Well, I noticed those details. I say, wow, how interesting to see women in this. And we see it. Why? Because we always see men dominating the scene. Men. Notice that the...
Hey, look, I mean, there are women, but most are men. And so I think it's our job to start paving the way and show that it's possible, that and make ourselves visible. That's really why I do this. Make yourself visible so that young people see you and say, I want that, right?
I want to be there and, well, encourage them to move forward, right? Give them tools so that they can make their own way.
I mean, Sandra has a channel. So, Sandra, as a content creator, how do you see yourself? Because I insist. I mean, I'm not saying obviously that there are very few women we see, right? So you say, well, I am one. You are going to be, you won at Oktoberfest 1 year, a second year, you are going to Germany, now Berlin with this. I mean, you are in the scene. Tell people a little about that, Sandra, so that as Marietta said, people can also say, hey, I want to be that.
Well, let's see. Point one, Maria Antonieta. I made her a user. Sandra is the queen. Of course not. But she when I met her, she was a Mexican champion, and that exactly inspired me to think I want to be like her. I mean, right now when she says I want them to see, to inspire, I mean, I'm raising my hand here because I was the pro bono. I want to get to where she is. I want the level she has. I want to be like her, like that. And among the advocates are Nora and Michelle. Michelle is also Chiquitita. Well, there are more, but those are the two I met first, and I also said I want to be like them. So point one, it's very good to see women because they show you that you as a woman can also do it, because yes, Amas saw, I mean, I haven't seen it if it's a very male-dominated world. I saw it as very normal, like it never really hit me until they started saying, well, oh, what a woman and this and that and I don't know what. Then that's when I paid attention and said, hey, yes, I'm the only woman in where I work. I'm the only woman who does this champions thing. Well, I mean, in development, of course, because another woman is Antonieta, but I mean, I refer to the coding part where we are not very present. So so instead of saying like, oh yes, I'm the awesome one, it's more like, okay, to show that women also have an important role in this path, that we are very necessary, because I've seen that sometimes we think very differently. I'm not saying better or worse. We all think men and women have very different ways of thinking. Both are useful for several things, so the team complements each other quite well with men and women. I complement very well with my colleagues because they simplify everything, while I'm like an anxious perfectionist. What if this goes wrong? What if this? What if that? I'm there with 1,000 scenarios and they're like, look, calm down, we'll solve it like this. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I'm here, yes, I'm kind of anxiously thinking about thousands of problematic scenarios, and my colleagues, Marita, we solve it. So I think it's a very nice compliment. And now how it's experienced, it is a bit difficult. Well, I don't know how Antonieta experiences it, but as my Iskumati, my nature is very anxious. Sometimes, yes, for example, with this trip to Mexico, I was a little scared of what if they steal the taxi from me? What if I get lost? What if I don't know what? I mean, and these are things that I see my friends don't think about. I mean, I don't know if you, Eric, thought about that, or you, Edgar, but I did.
Let's see. Yes, tell us, because we did get that.
Yes, I am super anxious, and no.
I'm going to let Edgar tell us, because Edgar seems like a Zen guy. I mean, you see him and Edgar is in a permanent Zen state. I mean, nothing gets to him. He's always, no, everything is under control. Relax, baby.
Come on, Edgar, tell us a little more about that. It's just a little about always being attentive, right, to your surroundings, what's happening. But well, beyond that, also try to stay calm, right? I mean, in general, I think that 95% of the time, if you're not actively looking for problems, you won't find them, right? So maybe that also helps, right? I mean, be attentive, but you can also be calm, right? I mean, no, not being worried all the time, because if not, well, then...
I see it, yes.
Yes, so yes. Well, that's another good tip, and it's something I like to do when I go to the city, is just put on a bored face when I enter a neighborhood I don't know, like, I always pass through here. It's how boring. And that's exactly how it works, right? I mean, because well, they see you and say, well, yes, he comes around here. And another thing I know is that when you're lost, you generally have your head up, right? And you're always kind of trying to look further ahead. So a way to disguise it is to look a little at the ground while you walk, right? Or at the shops, like it's fine. I know this place, right? And that's it, right? So with that, I think it's more than enough to
I can tell you that it also caused me a lot of concern because I had seen that a week before Mexico City was paralyzed by the rains, and I said, I hope that when we arrive at the airport, it's not a disaster and we won't be able to move. I mean, yes, those things do worry me a lot. Well, I also come just like you, Sandra and Marieta. I was coming from Cancun Airport, and obviously, well, we are not in the day-to-day of Mexico City because I'm going to confess something. Mexico City is in a deterioration never seen before in the 3 years that I have been living in Mexico. And I have noticed that the people of Mexico City do not perceive it. I mean, they take it, for them, it's normal. Like the building is falling, the signs, the lights, everything is, the holes are impressive. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but the road to Santa Fe is terrible, huh? But I mean, wow, it looks like bombs fell from the sky, right? So napanong ako sa India said this things cause anxiety, and also what you see on TV, on social media. Imagine people know that yes, that they took the girl. That was, I mean, then you become paranoid, right?
But well, I am doing it. Now what I believe is that
Of course, every time we have to go to Mexico City, what we need to do is a Zen session with Edgar, who will transmit his email.
To see him. A video call to Edgar, please.
Now, no problem.
Let me tell you something. This is the second CodeJam I attend. The first was in Brazil, and obviously you have to bring the homework. It's not like you arrive there, oh, here I am, how great I am. No, hold on. You had to have done some homework. Did you do it? Or do you arrive there all lost and haven't done anything? So I would like us to discuss that part for the people who are watching us. Why? Because you go to the CodeJam and everyone should already be planning their own CodeJam for next year. But you go to the CodeJam and it's not like you arrive there like, oh no, how great I am. And I'm already, no. You have to meet some prerequisites. And I think the app developer advocates are very strict about that. So let's see, who would like to comment on that? Because you see, you have to bring a little homework.
I was really stressed and I called Sandra and said, what is this, for God's sake? What is the eclipse? And how do I do it? Well, get off here. I don't know what. And you hit next. Okay, fine. And then this thing about what? The C++, right? I don't remember anymore. Well, it was like 3 things we had to do. And I called Sandra and she told me how.
First of all, you have to bring the computer with the specifications and the software they tell you, and then you do have to do some homework. But let Sandra tell us, well, in this case, it's true that it was for ABAP because, well, there are code jams for many topics. For example, you can tell us better, Eric.
But in this case, which was ABAP and Gen AI, it was about having Eclipse with the plugins, the ADT, and they said a trial in BTP, the trial that SAP gives us. That was the only task. Yeah, I feel it's minimal for, what you're going to learn, right? Oh yes, or for what they're going to help you do. And actually, I kept telling them all the time. I already have a video where I install Eclipse, the plugins, and do the trial and connect it. And I kept telling them, the little task is already solved there. And I sent it to Marieta, but I understand she's busy and didn't do the task, but it doesn't matter. We were still able to resolve it at the moment, and she was able to make her application. She was like, he said, I loved it when the application worked for them. Oh, and and when I witnessed it, I was like, oh, no, I couldn't believe it, right? Yes.
And he tested it and pointed out the error and also told me where to fix it.
Yes, but he...
Eddie, this thing Sandra does, I love it. Sandra, what Marieta does, I love it. Why? Because it's very sincere. It's real. I mean, if someone is not let's say, of the veil, but is not already, doesn't have experience with the product, they lose sight. I mean, you can, and that generates a certain level of stress for you too, because it tells you, well, I want to arrive. I want to arrive with my homework well done. I applaud the sincerity and transparency of yours, Marietta, because that happens. Sure, maybe Sandra is more like a fish in water, and Edgar, because it's the topic of ABAP, even though it's Yule, what do I know? But it's ABAP anyway. I mean, he's familiar with it. In fact, the topic of eclipse, for us who work with Business One, we know the topic of Eclipse because SAP HANA Studio was built on Eclipse. So we have the idea, right? In the end, it's a development environment where all the tools are also located. But I like that, Marietta, and I want people...
Oh, well.
No, I want the people who are listening to us to see Marietta as well. She is the reflection that, well, you go there and yes, you will learn, but also if not,
you have the channel.
That is important to go, even if it's not your area of expertise, to learn. I did it, right? I didn't care, and I said I want to go. And eventually, maybe I could have said it's just that I'm not a developer, and I swear I wanted to do it.
In fact, ask Sandra. She wanted me to go. She didn't want to go. And I was like, no, come on. I mean, you already registered just to hang out. I mean, even if you don't do anything, I told her, even if you don't do anything, come. And in fact, I would like to clarify that because there was another guy, I won't say names, but he is a follower who lives relatively close to Mexico City. And he told me a week before, I'm not going to the CodeJam because I don't know Eclipse. I've never used Eclipse. Oh, sorry. Once my nails were so that I saw them. Anyway, don't pay attention. The guy told me, I don't know Eclipse. I didn't install the plugins. I don't have the trial. I told him, I mean, sorry for the word, but it was like, dude, you have 1 week. I mean, there's my video and I sent it to him. And I told him, you don't have to know anything if you're a developer. Just install it and that's it. Yes, I will. But he made a lot of excuses, and yes, I was disappointed because he didn't go to the CodeJam, and his excuse was, no, it's that I don't know, it's that I didn't study, it's that I haven't worked, it's that I don't know what. And I was like, well, that's what you were going for, to learn, not to already know. I told him, I don't know either. I mean, I did install Eclipse, the plugins, a little bit of, but I didn't know anything about Julie. I didn't know what they were going to teach us. I was expecting something advanced, and I said, but you can't. Then I said, oh no, I'm not going because I won't know. I mean, I said, in the end, if I just spend my time there chatting and do nothing, in case nothing happens, right? But that is something to acknowledge about Antonietta, that despite it not being her area and maybe not having clarity on many things, she still took the plunge and did the practice. I mean, listen up those who didn't go just because supposedly they didn't have experience and I don't know what else. I mean, being developers, it was going to go much, much better for you. Of course, even if you didn't know. So, well, a little mark against you guys. But wait, what I'm getting at is don't hold back with the I don't know thing you say. You'll find out there, and if not, whatever. I mean, live the experience, and that's it. Yes, a citizen developer has been born. See? Yes, I just wanted to do that of that like
Edgar, I applaud Sandra's honesty. We have to talk about things in their true dimension. If they are tough, then they are tough. And if they are cool, they are cool. For example, sometimes in my videos, I make the complaint and say to them, dude, I mean, let's not be so mediocre with things. I mean, let's take the leap there, man. I mean, go all the way. So why? Because I feel, in fact, that's what drives me to create content as well. I feel that in Latin America, we have a lot of talent, but we're always with a little issue, with a little thing about not going to Germany, not going to Brazil, not going to that I don't know what an SAP is. Dude, how do you not know what an SAP champion is, man? I mean, it's like technology is just about coding. And you say, hold on, the SAP business is much more than that, dude. There is a structure. There is a
there are 1,000 things. I mean, there's the community, there are the videos. I mean, and sometimes people are like, hey, and how, and where is it? And I tell them, dude, what do you mean? Are you seriously asking me where? I mean, it's on the keyboard, man.
You type there Avad, it will show up. Everyone will show up. I also, Sandra, admit that I was very intrigued by the profile of Maria Antonieta when I first saw it, because of the topic of how SAP champion, and you know, she's in that dynamic. I feel identified with her because I am a salesperson.
And then I have to be, you know, in that scene and encourage, and let's go and get up and look, we're gonna be here.
And you see her post and you say, yo, no, but the girl is amazing. I mean, incredible post, date, time, topic, where, when, everything.
So I say, why don't we have 1,000 Marietas, 1,000 Edgars, 1,000 Sandras, 1,000 Erics, if we have 1 or 2 or 3, and everyone following that as if we were the right? Do you understand? So Sandra, I applaud your honesty, because things need to be said as they are so that there is also an awakening, right, of the mind. Edgar,
I was very disappointed that being dubs, they used the excuse of, oh, it's just that I don't know. I mean, it disappointed me a lot. So I say, no, I don't want them to feel bad either. I understand it might be something new that scared them or whatever, and they didn't go. But, well, I was a little disappointed. But anyway, it's okay.
We must.
It's very sad that, well, Sandra and I had been writing to them for like 1,000 years. When in Mexico? Because they went to last year, yes, I was outraged that they went to Latin America and didn't include Mexico. Yes, outraged. And before that, we were telling them about Latin America. And then they come out saying, yes, in Latin America, but not in Mexico. I was like, I wanted to eat them up. Me too. So you're waiting. We've been waiting for years. They finally come to Mexico. You have the chance to go and you don't make it because, I mean,
no. But, well, leaving the negative things aside, the advocates told me at the end of the events that they were fascinated by Mexico. In fact, they told me it was one of the best CodeJams they've ever had in their lives, not just in the year, in their lives.
And I was like, I told them.
Well, Edgar, did you see what's happening here? This dynamic. I do like to stir things up, right? The past, so that people also feel it in their gut and say, next year I'm going.
I mean, I tell them, hey, let's get out of that poor mindset and let's go. I mean, right? I mean, what's the problem?
So, Edgar, how do you see that comment that Mexico behaved very well?
Yes, in fact, I also had the opportunity to talk, especially with Rich, and he said that in the United States, for example, they are having trouble filling the code jams, right? That suddenly they have 8 people or 10 people, right? And the fact of seeing the forum full, and not only that, right? Also the energy, because really what Rich was telling me was, well, it's that seeing them, I mean, everyone is talking, they're laughing, right? They're having a great time, and that's not something that you commonly see. So I would also like to add the work that Antonio did, right? Because being, let's say, a bit of our translator speaking Spanish, well, I really think he also helped a lot to create that dynamic.
Yes, trust.
Exactly, the trust, right? And in the end, if you had doubts, well, you would ask them or you would ask Antonio, and anyway, we would help each other, right? So, well, from my side, I know that sometimes there are things that can scare us. I'm more of the idea that if you are capable of doing something you haven't done before, right? If you dare to take a small step, even if it's just a little one, then congratulate yourself for that, right? And let that serve as a stepping stone. I mean, little by little, keep growing. So I would take it like that, right? Maybe think that, well, maybe this year it wasn't, but with a bit of luck, it will come next year. And maybe now you take the step, right? And you come and have fun and we have a great time.
I understand that. that many wanted to go and maybe didn't because their work didn't allow them, or they couldn't get flights or money, because I mean, let's be honest, many times there's not even money to go around the corner. So I understand that, and it makes me very sad about that too. But still, I tell you, in other matters, I was disappointed because it was like, oh, Billy, you were right there next to me. But then, I mean, I said, well, I didn't say anything to him. I said, we'll be here waiting for you. If you want, we're here to help each other. We haven't talked since that day. And, but I mean, also, yes, don't feel too bad. I mean, I was disappointed, but well, the guy had his reasons for not going, not bringing the money. And he used the excuse that he didn't know. I don't know, right? But well, next year we have to see if it can be done, and that this time they join us, because yes, they are very cool events. Well, at least I liked it a lot, because as they say, everyone chatting. I mean, honestly, I expected the event to be like that, all seriousness and coding, right? And no, I mean, everyone was very integrated. It was something very nice.
Yes, truly. Dr. Thomas's teaching really caught my attention. And when he was explaining the topic of artificial intelligence, we were probably already familiar with some terms and concepts and such, but nevertheless, the guy elevates it and is very much a teacher, very much a teacher. I really like Thomas's teaching style in his explanation. As you all said, he was like a child having fun playing with AI. And that impacted me a lot because, of course, I've seen Daniel. Daniel has his style. Antonio is very good. I mean, they are all tremendous. They have very good styles. Barbasul himself, George himself. Exactly. But listening, well, by the way, Thomas is the boss of all of them, for those who are listening to me.
Well, Thomas is the head of the advocates, but Josh, with his new position, is Thomas's boss.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, I didn't know. I didn't know that George was in another organization.
In another position, 2 months ago, it was like already, I mean, he's already above Thomas, then the other advocates. But anyway, each one in their area. For example, Rich is like the one in charge in ABAP. He consults everything with him. As for Nora, well, everything related to Nora's topic, which I don't remember what topic Nora has. It's not my topic, but she has to authorize all of that. I mean, anyway, I find it very nice because even though Thomas is the leader, he lets them have their little teams and do what they want. I mean, he's not such a bossy boss.
I found Thomas' teaching to be tremendous, an example of a university academy professor. You could see that style.
And dynamic, but also an ease in explaining things. I mean, there were things I had read. I had taken some basic courses in artificial intelligence. And for example, when he explained this about similarity for determining semantic closeness, like how that if it was identical, if not, if it was opposite. Until that moment, it hit me how intelligence works. Yes, me too.
The topic of XY, which he also showed us, was very interesting.
X and Y and Z and the difference, and how what defines the relationship is the distance between the 2 points and not so much the characteristics of the points, which is how I have been thinking all my life, because when I studied development at some point 1,000 years ago, it was like the characteristics of each field or each situation or each piece of information that made the relationships, and now it is not like that.
Domaka, Kain will tell you something so that the people watching us might see why it's important to keep your senses very open and see the play, because there is a play. I mean, there's a play, and sometimes we're just navel gazing. I mean, we're looking at our own navel, but we're not seeing the big play.
A few months ago, Sam took a person who was the director of artificial intelligence in the small and medium enterprise segment in SA in Germany, in Waldorf. He took her, right, and brought her to Abad's team. She was one of the people responsible for making you available for Abad's developers. Her name is Simona Marinsei. So you can look her up if you want on social media, on LinkedIn. Simona Marinsei, or Marinsei with 2 C's. She's Romanian, lives in Waldorf, works at the official SAP headquarters there in Germany. Simona was one of the people who moved, right? Who was on that team, and they enabled it because in a few months that they appointed her today as part of the team, and in a few months that was already attached to YOL.
Yes. So
Yes, it was very fast. What I want to tell you with this is that within SAP, people, beyond carrying a card or having a title, one thing, people are real. They work. They are moved from one team to another. They are placed here for their skills there. Well, and we obviously are not going to have a Simona here in Mexico maybe teaching us these things, but SAP has a massive structure and says, well, look, we have a team of advocates and we have a team of champions, because I want to think that you as champions have a responsibility to also spread, right? To multiply, right? To expand. That's it.
Yes.
And that is Samara. I applaud you and say, I applaud all of you because Edgar is also doing a tremendous job in that regard. Well, I also acknowledge myself because I also create content, but I am focused on a segment, as I said, small and medium. But to understand the move, Mariana, who is here, you know that Josh is now here. And beyond that, it's not a position, but why they move him, what does he have, right? What does he contribute to the whole play? And that's why suddenly, right, we got to this. You will remember that not long ago, we lost an important member of the SAP team from TechEd, right? Who was the CTO, right? And he was Josh. Of course, Jürgen, they replaced him immediately and the company continued and everything worked and everything stayed the same and nothing happened and nothing fell apart. So I say, well, yes, the truth is I admire SAP because the people there have tremendous talent. I mean, because they do their job and they do it well. Let's agree on that, because sometimes here one is...
They give their best the best.
Sure, in Latin America, we sometimes go very far because suddenly you've been between a friend, I don't know, right? No, I mean,
yes, indeed.
Some friends helped us, connected us, no? But these geniuses have a lot, really. They are total professionals, and having them here with us, well, it's a privilege, I think, to not make it too long, and we should repeat it, right? Because hopefully from here, a discussion will arise, right? To wrap up and let you speak as well, I will say, gentlemen, I am proud of you. It's true what Mariana says. I feel happy. I feel happy to be able to sit here with several people to talk about something that also fascinates me. I love it. That we were able to meet in person, that was very nice. So, well, with that, I say goodbye. So I give you the opportunity as well.
Very well. Adios.
From my side, thank you. Yes, from my side as well, to tell you that it was a real pleasure to be all together, right? I really wanted to meet you, to be able to chat. Besides, we went for a get-together, right? I mean, I really think all of that was incredible. Actually, I think that, well, maybe this small step, right? Like it could be the start of a more vibrant community in Mexico, right? And well, finally, to hope, right, that eventually the dev advocates can return, that we can also participate in the Dev Tower Fest, right? Which is also really great because those things that we suddenly didn't know, well, there they are, right? And well explained and everything. So I think that's incredible, and well, nothing, right? It's a real pleasure to keep chatting with you, and hopefully we can do it a little more often too, right?
Let's go with Sandra. Well, it's with Marietta. With Marietta. Let's go, Marietta.
Well, just to thank you for the invitation. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Edgar and Sandra. And well, yes, I also loved finally being able to hug them. I mean, like everyone in the community knows who they are, who we are, and we see the photo and everything.
But well, at least I was very happy to be able to touch them, to be able to well, see them now like in person. It was a totally different experience. It was incredible to participate in the CodeJam for me, to do my developments and really know how it worked there, and then also do the model there. Well, it was like I don't know, going to Disneyland, right? So, well, I hope that next time there is one, I really invite everyone to go to attend. It doesn't matter if it's not your specialty, that your knowledge is like it multiplies. I don't know how, but it kind of blew my mind. Everything I learned in the code gems and what we talked about at night was like, I don't know, a game changer for me, definitely.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Because by the way, we should do this next Thursday to talk about the second day, because we talked about the first, but we didn't talk about the second. So we could repeat this next Thursday if possible, and then we address the topic of Friday and wrap it up, and then we look for another topic. Sandra.
Okay.
It's your turn to say goodbye, Sandra.
Sorry, I hadn't heard. I should clarify that Antonietta arrived super happy, energetic, and it was very endearing because she arrived. And I honestly admire that about Antonietta being so genuine. I already want to be like that too, because she arrived and Richard was in the middle of the conversation and she was like, Sandra, and hugs me. I mean, like, honestly, I would have entered like on the edge and not be seen rough, right? So I really liked that, because instead of looking bad, it was like, no way. I mean, she laughed finally. So I kind of learned that from her. And it was really funny that Richard was explaining and she was like, oh, he doesn't appreciate her. And I was like, what are you doing? What's up? But it was a very, very funny scene, but very nice. Like, it gave a little boost to the CodeJam. I just wanted to mention that part, that Antonietta is super nice. But to say goodbye, honestly, it's an experience that I enjoyed a lot. I achieved my goal of being with them all day, every day. Poor things, I saw them comfortable. I think they weren't bored. I was able to get to know them in a different way, how they prepare. Finally, it's just that, honestly, I did see them as top gods like that. And being with them in person, it's like, okay, I mean, yes, they are intelligent and all, but they are people, I mean, in the end, right? I was able to interact with them in a much better way. In fact, I'm going to upload, I think you also interviewed Eric, Antonio, and I did an interview with Antonio too. I'm going to edit it and upload it to the channel. I also made a video talking about the experience from my point of view, which will complement really well with this live stream, which will be recorded. And well, anyway, I got a little sidetracked, but just to say goodbye, honestly, I also loved meeting you all in person. It's just that it was like we had known each other for years. I mean, like, very funny. Being together later in the restaurant with all of you and seeing how you integrated, how we were having I really liked it. Honestly, this was a very beautiful experience for me. I would go again 1,000 times, and I don't care how, but I would go again. And well, just keep that in mind. I mean, for the next one, if there is a next one, well, don't miss it, and well, be very active and participate in the Dev Tower Fest, which is already in September. 4 intense weeks of code are coming, and I hope, well, to win again.
I don't want to beat you again. You don't know, but Sandra has won twice, not once, twice.
Totally. Look at what I'm going to do. We're going to finish the video now, so it stays within an hour and we can upload it to TikTok.
Yes.
Hey, ¿qué es, Tomasi? Yalan with me sekwa diat sa pamiyos tamihima. Stay with me for 3 more minutes. We say goodbye. Paz, thank you for joining us. Don't miss the next video or the next broadcast next Thursday.
A kiss.
Take care. Don't leave, guys. I'm going to end the broadcast.